In every culture, across every age, humans have told stories. From the ancient fireside myths of tribes to the epics of Greece, from the sacred texts of religions to the blockbusters of Hollywood, storytelling has been our most enduring way of making sense of life. And at the heart of understanding why stories resonate so deeply with us stands one man, Joseph Campbell. He was not just a scholar of myth, but a visionary who uncovered a pattern that connects all tales, all heroes, and perhaps all of us. His great contribution was the discovery of what he called the monomyth, or the hero's journey, the idea that beneath the surface differences of world mythologies lies a universal structure, a shared map of the human experience. Today, Campbell's ideas remain not just intellectual curiosities but living tools for anyone seeking meaning, growth, or even a way through life's darkest passages. Joseph Campbell was born in 1904 in White Plains, New York. His childhood was steeped in the imagination, inspired by Native American myths he encountered at a young age. That fascination with myth and symbol would become his life's pursuit. Campbell was a voracious reader, drawing from the ancient texts of Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and classical mythologies. He studied medieval literature, psychology, and art. But more than a scholar, he was a bridge builder, someone who wanted to connect the wisdom of the ancients with the questions of modern life. In his lifetime, he would publish works that changed not only academic studies but the way writers, filmmakers, and ordinary people think about stories and meaning. His most famous book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, published in 1949, outlined the structure he saw recurring in myths across cultures. The hero's journey, as Campbell described, is not simply about external adventure but about the deep psychological and spiritual transformations we undergo. It is a path that mirrors life itself, leaving behind the familiar, confronting trials, finding allies and enemies, descending into darkness, and ultimately returning transformed. Campbell showed us that whether it is Gilgamesh in ancient Mesopotamia, Odysseus in Greece, Buddha in India, or Luke Skywalker in a galaxy far, far away, the pattern of the hero's journey is remarkably consistent. And this is why myths matter. They reveal truths about the human condition that are timeless. The journey begins with what Campbell called the call to adventure. The hero starts in the ordinary world, living a normal life, until something disrupts it, a challenge, a quest, a problem that cannot be ignored. This mirrors our own lives, moments when life demands we leave our comfort zone. It could be a crisis, a personal loss, an opportunity, or even an inner restlessness that pushes us toward change. The hero is often reluctant at first. There is fear, doubt, or denial. But soon, the threshold is crossed. To step into the unknown is terrifying, but it is also where growth begins. Think of Frodo leaving the Shire, or Harry Potter stepping into Hogwarts, or even the moments in our own lives when we leave home, change careers, or face a personal trial. The call to adventure is universal. After crossing the threshold, the hero encounters trials and tests. There are allies who provide help and mentors who offer wisdom. But there are also enemies, obstacles, and temptations. This stage of the journey mirrors the struggles we all face when pursuing a goal or growing as individuals. Campbell emphasized that these struggles are not merely external, they are also deeply internal. The dragon the hero must face is often a symbol of their own fears, desires, or unresolved conflicts. In this way, myths are not literal stories about gods and monsters, but psychological maps of the challenges we all must face. One of the most profound moments of the journey is the descent into the abyss, or the darkest point of the adventure. The hero may be swallowed by the whale, trapped in the underworld, or brought to the edge of death. This is where the old self dies and the possibility of transformation begins. Campbell connected this stage to psychology, particularly the insights of Carl Jung, showing that in order to grow, we must confront the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide or fear. This descent is painful, but it is necessary. Only by facing the darkness can the hero emerge into the light. After the abyss comes the revelation, the transformation, and the return. The hero gains a treasure, wisdom, or power. But the journey is not complete until the hero returns to the ordinary world, bringing back the boon for the community. This is key. The hero's journey is not about personal glory alone, but about service. The hero becomes a bridge between the realms of adventure and the everyday, helping others by sharing what was learned. This is why myths resonate. They are not simply entertainment, but guides to living. They teach us that growth, courage, and transformation are possible, and that our struggles can yield meaning. Joseph Campbell's genius was not simply in cataloguing myths but in showing their relevance to modern life. In a time when many feel disconnected from tradition or overwhelmed by chaos, Campbell's message is clear: myths are not dead stories from the past, they are living maps for the soul. His famous advice, "Follow your bliss," became a rallying cry for many seeking direction. Though sometimes misunderstood as a call to mere pleasure-seeking, Campbell meant something deeper: align your life with your true calling, the path that makes you feel most alive, and doors will open where once there were none. Perhaps the most famous modern application of Campbell's ideas was in Hollywood. George Lucas openly credited the hero with 1,000 Faces as the inspiration for Star Wars. Luke Skywalker's journey from farm boy to Jedi mirrors the stages Campbell outlined: the call to adventure, the mentor in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the trials against the Empire, the descent into darkness, and the ultimate return with wisdom. Since then, countless films, from The Matrix to The Lion King, have been structured around the hero's journey. Even video games and novels use the pattern, often unconsciously, because it resonates so deeply with audiences. But Campbell's influence was not limited to art. His ideas touched psychology, education, and spirituality. He argued that myths give us orientation in life, teaching us about love, death, sacrifice, and renewal. They are not literal histories but symbolic truths. In his conversations with journalist Bill Moyes in The Power of Myth, Campbell explained that myths help us face the mystery of existence. They guide us in understanding who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. For a modern world that often feels disenchanted, myths restore wonder. At the heart of Campbell's philosophy is the belief that life itself is a journey. Each of us is the hero of our own story. We may not slay literal dragons or cross oceans, but we face trials, challenges, and transformations just the same. The hero's journey is the story of growing up, of finding love, of facing loss, of creating meaning. It is about learning who we are and how we fit into the larger tapestry of existence. Campbell invites us to see our lives not as random chaos but as meaningful adventures filled with symbolic significance. Critics of Campbell sometimes argue that his theory oversimplifies myths or imposes a single pattern onto diverse traditions. And while it's true that not every story fits neatly into the monomyth, Campbell's insight remains powerful. Humans share deep psychological and symbolic structures across cultures. The details may differ, but the themes of departure, struggle, transformation, and return are near universal. This is why myths across the world feel strangely familiar, even if they come from cultures we've never encountered. They are mirrors of our shared humanity. The enduring power of Campbell's work lies in its invitation to live consciously. He challenges us to recognize when we are being called to adventure, to embrace the trials as necessary for growth, to confront our shadows, and to bring back what we've learned to help others. His work is both inspiring and sobering. Inspiring, because it assures us that meaning is possible, that our lives can be heroic. Sobering, because it reminds us that the journey requires sacrifice, courage, and a willingness to change. Today, in an age of rapid technological change, social upheaval, and existential uncertainty, Campbell's message feels more relevant than ever. We may not believe in Zeus or Odin, but we still need myths. We need stories that help us navigate who we are, what we value, and how we face the challenges of being human. The myth of the hero's journey is not just an old pattern, it is alive in us. Every time we leave the familiar, every time we face a trial, every time we grow and return with wisdom, we are living the myth. Joseph Campbell's legacy is vast, but perhaps it can be summarized in this: myths are the language of the human soul. They speak to us in symbols, in patterns, in stories that transcend time and place. To study them is to study ourselves. To understand the hero's journey is to understand the path of life itself. And to follow your bliss is not just to chase happiness, but to align with the deepest calling of your being, the adventure that only you can undertake. In the end, Campbell taught us that stories matter because they are us. They are not escapism but guides, not distractions but revelations. When we listen to myths, we are listening to the wisdom of countless generations. When we recognize the hero's journey, we recognize our own struggles and triumphs reflected in the great mirror of human experience. And when we follow our bliss, we step into the adventure of living fully, embracing both the trials and the joys of existence. So when you hear the words "once upon a time," or when you watch a hero take their first step into the unknown, remember that you too are part of the great story. Your life is your myth. Your journey is your hero's path. And as Joseph Campbell reminds us, the treasure you seek is not somewhere out there, it is waiting to be discovered within, and then shared with the world.